Good evening. Today is Tuesday, December 8th, 2020, and this is the start of the Hanson Board of Selectmen meeting. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Kemet, would you mind reading the announcements for us, please?
Oh, it would be my pleasure. Okay, Whitman Hanson High School senior Emma Rogers has requested the following announcement be shared with residents. Miss Rogers' Key Club is hosting a food drive after Thanksgiving to support the Hanson and Whitman food pantries. The Key Club is partnering with the National Honor Society Food for Thought Club and the nonprofit organization Project 351. Their goal is to stock the pantries before the December holidays so that families will have access to the food they need to enjoy these times. Food items may be dropped off between November 30th and December 18th to the student dining area, the gym, and the main office, I assume up at the high school. Cash or gift cards to local businesses should be put in an envelope and brought to either Mrs. Edkins or Mr. Skutak, and if I've just killed that, I'm sorry, room. Thank you in advance for your generosity during the season of giving. Hanson firefighters are holding a Christmas lights drive-through with Santa on December 11th and 12th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the McQuon School parking lot. Tickets can be purchased at www.hansonfirefighters.com. Volunteers are needed on the following committees: Facebook Upkeep Committee, 200th Anniversary, Conservation Commission, full and associate members, Cultural Council, Disabilities, Economic Development, Highway Building Committee, Historical Commission, Memorial Day Patriotic Observance, Memorial Field Trustees, and North River Commission. Applications for appointment and info on the committees are available on the town website, www.hanson-ma.gov. Upcoming meetings: Board of Selectmen, December 15th, 2020, Board of Selectmen, January 5th, 2021, Board of Selectmen, January 26th, 2021. And did I get all of those items? Because there's some little note here, 1A, 1B, and 1C. Did I get all of those?
Those are Emma Rogers' request for the food drive,
okay,
and
I just
also
want to make
the
sure I hit all
drive-through.
the
Yeah, the
okay,
drive-through.
That's it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first up under new business, we have Mr. TJ Woodward, proposed easel scout project at Meadowbrook, at Poor Brook Meadow Nature Trail. And it looks like TJ, you're from Troop 68, right?
68, yeah. You'll have to change the signage.
Yeah, I know. Twice you might have to change it. What's better for you? You wanna stand there or should you come here?
Sure, I can stand up there.
Yeah, come on up here if you don't mind.
I have copies of the proposal.
Sure,
Anyone
we'll
need-
take the copies first.
I
I'll
think
take
we
me and
have
Matt's.
those, right?
Those are in your packets.
Yeah, we've got that in the packet.
Do you have them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take one.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So this is exciting. This is about a piece of property that the town acquired with community preservation funds.
Yep.
And not much has been done with it.
Yeah, so it's pretty much an undeveloped area. I don't know if any of you, to give an idea as to where it is, it's right by Hanson Grain, right by the railroad tracks. Currently, it's there's a partial trail there, a couple existing trails kind of winding through. So basically, what I plan on doing, starting with the parking area, I would like to square off the parking area, clean everything up, put new gravel or recycled asphalt throughout the area to make it accessible for parking, and then planting a trail kiosk in a designated location, which I will be building with South Shore Carpentry at VOTEC. I'm in the carpentry program, so that's a good resource for me. And then going off of that, I'm going to put a 1 to 1.5 mile trail that is being planned out currently throughout the trail, or throughout the area pinpointing several different locations, nature locations, or historic locations as well. So as you can see in the proposal, I put 2 pictures of what's currently there. So that's basically the parking area and the existing trail that's there. So we'll be going off of that and then making our own trail throughout as a loop through the area. Is there any questions that I can answer or clarify on anything that anyone needs
So
to
the
know?
trail, how wide will the trail be?
Approximately, we're just making it like so 2 people can pass through easily.
Okay.
And obviously COVID-19 has allowed us to, we're gonna make it a little wider so there's space for 2 people to pass comfortably. So it's
Okay,
about,
good idea.
it'll be 4 to 6 feet or so.
Do you have to remove any whole trees, or is it just underbrush?
There will be, mostly the trail obviously is, we're gonna try to map it around bigger trees and things like that. Most of it is just brush. We've walked the area with the Conservation Commission,
Okay.
which most of it is just brush. There's a clearing as you get farther back, so that's pretty easy to run the trail through as well.
Okay. And last question for me, if you get the recycled asphalt, how will you spread that? Are you gonna do that by hand?
That, it can be spread by hand. It's either that or using a bobcat or something like that
Right.
through the area, which wouldn't take very long.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Yep.
Go ahead, Laura.
This is great, I think it's awesome, because really, people haven't really been able to enjoy the property, so this is
Yep.
fabulous, and I love the fact that you're bringing in South Shore Boat Tech, and you're like, just bringing in all kinds of people into the project. It's beautiful, it's a poster child of the way a project should work. Wondering, are you gonna hit any really wet areas, and are you doing like boardwalks there, or like, what's your thought process on
So
that?
there are a couple areas that when we walked through, it was very dry when we walked through the area a couple times, but there are areas that you can see that there is water that comes in. So basically the trail is gonna be routed. Possibly, we're trying to go around most of them, but if I have to, based on where the trail is routed, we'll put up to 3 like land bridge sort of
Yeah,
things to go over those areas.
okay, awesome, that's great.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, good, man.
So I see that you have a pretty good sum of money that you'll need to fundraise for. Could you tell us about how you plan on doing some of that fundraising?
So most of the fundraising is going to be bottle and can drives. So I'll probably have to do a couple throughout. I've been working on that already. So I've been getting donations, and so it'll be monetary donations and bottles and cans that will be returned.
All right, great. And feel free to reach out to our board and let us know so we can help advertise the bottle and can drive for you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Anybody else?
Nope, just teach, thanks, it's a great,
And you have the, I'm sorry, Wes.
Nope,
Just-
go ahead.
You have conservation's approval, we said?
Yep, as my beneficiary.
Okay, when are you gonna start?
I'm starting fundraising currently, so hopefully I'm planning on doing my fundraisers after the holiday season, so hopefully there's more bottles and cans, which will allow me to get a big head start on it. And depending on weather, I'll be able to start in the area if
Right.
there's no snow and things like that. So hopefully,
What's your deadline to pull it over the line?
yep, that's what I was just gonna cover. My deadline is next June.
Oh, okay.
We have a little bit of time, so weather allowing, we'll try to get it started soon and be able to work on it throughout the year.
Well, you're ahead of the game. A lot of times we get people 3 weeks before the deadline.
That's 3 weeks before their birthday.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And then, Mr. Chair, one more thing. I'd like to, if you need any help, feel free to give me a call at least. This is right up my alley, so,
I appreciate it.
yeah.
Good, if there's no more questions, I'm looking for a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? 5-0. TJ, you are all set. You have the approval from the board. Good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, great project.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, sorry, I have to take this down. Annual license renewals. So we have a list in here. Does anybody have any questions on these renewals? I know Greer's been working on this.
The usual, are they, you know, have we had any compliance issues with building, with paying fees, with conservation? Is everybody up to
Yeah,
date
no,
on
everybody,
taxes?
yes, so there are no issues. The police chief said no problem for the alcohol licenses. All taxes have been paid. They have provided proof of workers' compensation if they have employees, and they have all sent in their license fees. The only licensee currently that will need to be moved to the 15th because we haven't gotten all the paperwork back is Shaw's Supermarket. But their corporate office assured me today that it will be in by the 15th.
Any more questions? If not, I am looking for a motion to approve the license renewals for 2021.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, next up under new business, review draft solicitation for quotes for a deregionalization feasibility study. Mr. Stanbrook,
Yes,
I'm going to defer to you on this one.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, at the last meeting, the board asked me to come up with a deregionalization study, 3-quote solicitation. I gave it to you. This is my draft form here. It's 3 pages long go out to try to get 3 quotes in order to do the deregionalization study, and this is, I'm trying to get some feedback on what you think. Do you want me to include more? Do you want me to take things out? It's pretty much discussion time on what the study should include, or at least the bid of what the study should include.
Looked good to me. I was just curious, how do you go about finding 3 bids for something like this? Is there
Well,
no venue?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Bless. I thought it looked great job, and I assume that you worked with Mr. Hickey, you know, in terms of what you were looking for. The only thing I was a little like, oh, this is a little funky, I don't know if we're gonna find anybody, was the proof of at least 5 years' experience performing school deregionalization studies, and then proof of at least 3 prior school deregionalization studies in the Commonwealth in the past, because I'm just not really sure that many people have done deregionalization studies. So I just didn't want us to hamstring ourselves. I understand why you put it there, because we clearly would want somebody to demonstrate that they've done this before. We don't want to be the first ones they've done this for. But I'm just wondering, I would ask maybe the board to think about whether we could put a little bit of flexible language in there so that we don't hamstring ourselves and not get anybody applying because they don't meet that criteria.
I have to laugh because when I read this last week, I thought that part B, I put the word year after the last word passed. And I was going, oh my God, no one could have done 3 of these studies in the past year. Then I read it tonight, the other day, I was like, oh, there is no word year. All right, well, maybe. But I agree with you. It is like, if you can't find someone who's done 5 deregionalizations in the past 5 years, it's like, well, I don't know. Can we tweak?
I mean, because we know Brookfield and we know Silver Lake, but I don't know when, you know, there may be others out there, but I don't know.
Good, Mr. Dye.
Could we just put preferred rules
Yes,
for?
preference will be given.
Yeah, maybe
like
take the
that,
3
yeah.
out. That's fine, I agree with that too.
Yeah, I agree too.
So preference will be given to bidders that, is that
Have
approved?
prior school
Demonstrated
deregionalization
history,
studies.
oh, yeah, just something like that, like demonstrated experience.
Other than that, I think it's fun.
Yeah, I
Yep.
agree.
And then, Mr. Chair, also too, do we think May 1st is a good, preliminary report, okay, never mind. I just wanted to make sure that May 1st wasn't too fast and furious, just because by the time we put it up for procurement, by the time they get the information and analyze the data, you know, that you're only really allowing a few weeks for, you know, a report to be written. But if it's preliminary, I guess it's.
I think that's a fair point though, Mr. Dyer, because let's back into the timeline. They have to respond by January 8th. And you'd actually choose on that day, John, by opening the envelopes like the normal
Yes.
process? And then, I mean, how long would it take you guys to get them up to speed, get, you know, like kind of sit down and tell them what they want? And then we gotta keep in mind that the district is in the middle of COVID, which is like shifting sands every day. We don't, you know, hybrid, remote, we don't, who knows what the heck they're gonna be dealing with. And so to try to get them, it is a preliminary report. I mean, I guess if they don't meet that deadline, John, would we put something in the contract that says, you know, barring any, you know, acts of God, unforeseen circumstances type of language? I don't know.
I can move it to any date you like. I picked June 1st.
I think we
June
can
30th.
change
It
the
can
date at any time, or you put in there that within 30 days prior to May 1st, if you can't meet the deadline, they need to submit us a
Yes.
letter and tell us the
Yep.
reason why, and if we need to extend it, we can
Yep.
extend it.
I like
But we don't
that.
want to extend the date and then have them say, oh, great, we got 7 months, we can take our time with this.
Yeah, I like that.
You know,
I
we
like
want,
that.
we want to create the sense of urgency for this.
And that's gonna be the biggest problem with this, whether it's May 1st, June 1st, April 1st. There has to be a timeline enough, once we get the information, you know, when it comes from the deregionalization committee to the Board of Selectmen, to have time to get it out to the citizens of Hanson,
Yeah.
so that we can actually get them educated either way.
Right.
But at town meeting, you know, everybody has to be updated on this fully. So whether it's, you know, if it's really not April 1st to give everyone a full month, then we're looking into next year.
Well, yeah, this wouldn't make it before the October town meeting anyway,
Probably not,
not clearly.
yeah.
Well,
that's
I
what
mean,
we-
I like Kenny's idea.
Yeah,
We shoot
me
for
too.
May 1st, and if we have to adjust, then we adjust.
At least we'll have an idea by then,
Right.
you know, which way they will be going. Any more questions on that? Other than that, yeah, good job, John, I like that.
Thank you.
Okay,
So do we have to make a motion, or?
I don't think so, John, should we?
I can redo this and we could talk about it next week. I'll come up with the final number.
Is it
Final
possible,
word.
John, that you just redo it for the request that we just asked
Yeah.
and get it out
So we
there?
make a motion that we approve it?
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about it again, I think you're,
Yeah, we wait till
You're good.
the 15th, and then you're not getting the letter out until just
Yeah.
before Christmas, and then they gotta come back with it.
yep, go ahead and get it out, I agree.
All
Okay.
right, so I make a motion that we approve this solicitation based upon John making the changes that we discussed.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded, any more questions? All those in favor? 5-0, excellent, thank you. Okay, next, we have execute the Lakeville Animal Shelter Agreement. So this is something that we've been doing the past couple of years. This is where they store the animals when they catch them doing bad things. And it's a 1-year contract that we have with Lakeville Animal Shelter, and they're looking to renew that for 1 year.
And they are, just to be clear, they're not also filling the role of animal control officer, correct?
No,
Okay,
they're
it's
not. Just housing.
A kennel, if you will.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I move that we renew that contract with Lakeville Animal Shelter.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
And just, Kenny, I know we already moved it, but just for clarification, and I think, Matt, you asked this last year, or I think you did, what happens to the cats, because this is just for dogs? And I think we said that we don't have a shelter for cats, that the animal control officer tries to work with local, smaller shelters who take in cats, right? I
Yeah,
think that's the
yeah,
answer we
yep.
got.
Laura, I don't know if you noticed the chairman of the Lakeville Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I did.
I
You
just
did?
laughed to
You
myself.
got, everybody noticed that?
I did.
Okay.
Well, you gentlemen were a step ahead of me, I did not. And now I'm triggered.
That's my Sunday read material. Okay, next up, execute the memorandum of agreement with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 2713. So we have this 1-year agreement with the fire union, and they have signed it. And we're looking for a motion to agree and execute this memorandum of agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions?
Should we just read what the agreement says? Is that even the last paragraph of it
Yeah.
public?
Yes,
Yep.
I can do that. Thank you. Okay, memorandum of agreement. This agreement is made by and between the town of Hanson and the International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO Local 2713. That's the fire union. The parties have met and negotiated a successor collective bargaining agreement to be in effect from July 1st, 2020 through June 30, 2021, subject to ratification by the parties. The parties agree that the terms and conditions of their previous collective bargain agreement shall not change in the successor collective bargain agreement except as modified below. A 2% cost of living adjustment shall be applied to the collective bargaining agreement salary schedule effective January 1st, 2021. Those adjustments have been included in the addendum A, which are attached to this agreement. And did we get a second? Okay, all those in favor? 5-0. So, Greer, make sure we don't run out without signing that tonight.
Oh, no.
Okay, next up, we have consider delegation of responsibilities of McCorn School playing fields to Parks and Fields. So Parks and Fields, so you guys know that obviously McCorn has been, I think September of 2018, I think McCorn's been closed for 2 years now, if I'm not mistaken. But Parks and Fields has been getting interest from certain groups, sports groups, that want to rent the field. So Parks and Fields has 7 fields. We have 3 fields on Robinson Street, we have 3 fields at Botieri, and we have 1 field at Hancock Street to make up 7. So when we get the opportunity,
I'm sorry, excuse me.
the girls softball field.
Yeah, at LZ Thomas.
At LZ
Route
Thomas.
27.
Mr. Hickey, I apologize. And not only is the girls softball field part of Parks and Fields, it's also Mr. Hickey Way. So thank you for bringing that to my attention, sir.
Welcome.
So anyways, Parks and Fields can't tell people they can play on the field. They can't rent it because we don't have jurisdiction of the field because so how it works is the school fields are under the jurisdiction of the schools, during the day while kids play and stuff. So where McQuon is now closed, the school, Whitman Hanson Regional School, is kind enough to maintain the grass in the fields. That's it. So they're mowing them and cleaning them up. That's it. So we want to designate the field area for use to be under the jurisdiction of Parks and Fields. When we rent the fields, we don't rent them for a lot. It's not a lot of money. But I can tell you that money goes towards maintaining, fertilizing, and upkeeps for the field. So Parks and Fields is kind of a little bit in limbo with McQuon School because they're like, we don't know if it's ours. So they asked me if I would bring this to the board and allow them to be able to rent that field out, when needed.
I don't have a problem with that, but as you know, we're in the continuous process of RFPing on McQuon, and actually John's meeting people. When are you meeting them?
That was
Friday?
today.
Oh, today, okay.
That's why he's limping.
Bidders, so we may have activity at McQuon, which may do something with the fields, but it's not right away. So in the interim, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, and I would let them know that.
Yeah.
But they've had a couple of groups that they've asked, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's a
So,
weird position.
Yeah, it is.
Well, town council has made it
Yeah.
seem likely that the move makes sense, so.
Yeah, and we're not conveying anything, I saw that, we're not doing any of that, it's
It's
just,
just care and custody, really.
right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yep.
yeah. But it's also not, like I said, the schools, and I'm hoping, Ernie, you're gonna continue to maintain these, I mean, they have no obligation to do that.
No.
They could, they could have turned that in when they turned the building in and said, that's it, so at least they're still doing that, so we're hoping they'll continue to do that, and just as far as playing on it, we'll go through Parks and Fields, so.
So So I move that we turn the McQuon Field over to the care and custody of the Parks and Fields.
Motion's made, and do I have a second? And then I'll take questions.
Yeah,
I think Mr. Hickey was first, go ahead.
yeah, so is there any kind of, contract that Parks and Fields is gonna write up? Because they're just using the field. It's still an abandoned building.
Yeah, they're just the outside field, nothing to do with the building, just like the rest of our
That's
fields.
exactly what I mean.
Yeah, so there's no, you rent the fields and you can run in and use the bathroom, no, nothing to do with the building at
No,
all.
but obviously you can't run in, it's all locked up, but it's still a vacant building there with some type of sports group there. That's what's got me.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll stress to Parks and Fields that whatever group that they rented to needs to stay away from the building, not be in the building, and,
Right, you guys will have a contract signed by them, by the group that's gonna use it.
yeah, if somebody rents it, we get their insurance, and, it's just a basic, like I said, it's not a lot of money, it's not.
But you've got a process already in place.
Yes.
That you use for the other fields.
Yep,
You'll use
and
the-
we also have a revolving account that money goes into, that, again, Parks and Fields uses to maintain the fields.
I'm
Yep.
good with that, I just wanted to make sure that, we didn't talk about it before it was, put out on the floor, so. I
Yeah.
just wanted to bring that up.
Mr. Blas, did you have a
Nope,
question?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, all those in favor? 5-0, okay, thanks, guys. All right, next up, accept the Community Compact Cabinet Information Technology Grant Award. Mr. Stanbrook, I'm gonna defer to you on that one.
Okay.
I know that's a grant that we got.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our town planner, Deb Petty, put in for a Community Compact Cabinet Information Technology Grant with the state, and we were awarded $81,050 in a very competitive grant. This is the letter from the Lieutenant Governor and the Secretary of the Executive Office for Administrative and Finance, and it's going to be used for online permitting purposes, try to get some online permitting going in the town, try to get away from the paper that we've been using in the past. This was money that was out there, and Deb took the initiative and did a great job of getting the grant. So kudos to her. She earned this money, and this is all her. So congratulations to Deb.
So, Mr. Stanbrook, through you,
Yep.
Mr. Chair, to Mr. Stanbrook, can you just elaborate a little bit more about what departments will be online permitting? And, because I know some already have some degree of online permitting.
Right.
Is it to increase the connectivity between all the departments for online permitting, so one department knows what the other knows
Yes.
automatically?
It'll be all one system.
Okay.
And we're still deciding which one to pick, because we're taking a look at both, two systems at the moment. It will be assessors, building, police, fire for burning permits. I want to say highway, and there was one other, and I'm drawing a blank. So it's kind of bringing everything together and under one roof, and getting it all online. So, God forbid if this continues for a long time, we'll still be able to get the town's business done.
Well, this is great, and Mr. Chair, I would really like to express my appreciation for Deb Petty taking the initiative. She does a lot of little things behind the scenes, and applies for a lot of grants that we don't get, not because of her, but just because they're very competitive. But this is a real feather in our cap. So maybe, I don't know if we could write her a little letter of thanks from the Board of Selectmen, because $81,000 is a lot of money.
I agree.
Yeah.
We could do that.
So do you need a motion for us to accept this grant, Mr. Stanbrook?
I don't think it's needed, but I just wanted to, if you'd like to make it to, that would be great. I'll be signing all the documents, and there's a virtual ceremony on Thursday that Deb and I are going to be attending, where the Lieutenant Governor is going to be going over the grant and, giving out kudos to everyone. So
Are you doing it here?
it's online.
Oh,
It's-
gotcha.
Because of the COVID-19.
So why doesn't Laura move to accept?
So let's do,
Thank you,
yeah.
Mr. Bloss, I was right there with you.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next up. Accept the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program grant. Mr. Stanbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a grant that we get every year through the Recycling Dividends Program, the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program of the Department of Environmental Protection, or the DEP. It's an amount that we get, you get certain points. Each town gets certain points for doing things to maximizing reuse and recycling and waste reduction. So this is a yearly grant, and this is just, we've got $9,000 this year, similar to in previous years. So this would just be to accept the grant from the state.
And what's that money? What do we use the money for?
For recycling programs in the community and the environment. So they anytime, it's supposed to be getting the outreach out to the residents of how to recycle and buying recycling related things.
Okay. I'm sure, Matt, you're probably all over this and know all about this.
I wish I could say I was an expert, but I am familiar with the program, yes.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so we might as well do the same thing, Mr. Boss.
Mrs. Kevin.
Oh, please, Mr. Bloss.
All right, we just do this, just so the public knows, we have a system here that just makes it very easy for our administrative assistant to keep track of who's moving, who's seconded. It's not any big preferential.
Right.
thing. All right.
Good
just
point.
this once, Mr. Bloss moves.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Thank you. Okay, appointments, resignations. Bill Woodward.
There's just the November donations.
Oh, I apologize. Accept November donations. Did you guys see those?
So moved, and, Mr. Stanbrook, is this COVID elections response, is this something that Ms. Sloan had applied for?
Yes, this is
Yes.
one that, we had already approved that one, but this, it's on here again because the check actually came in.
Okay, so I move that we accept the Center for Tech and Civics $5,000 donation, and then the sway, quote-unquote sway, donation of $1,026 from the 200th Anniversary Committee.
Good, thank you, Laura. I was just gonna say that.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, now we'll go to appointments and resignations. Bill Woodward, resigning from the Conservation Commission effective 11/17/20.
So moved with regret, and I will say, I was with a bunch of people on Sunday, with a little walk from with Dave Mansfield from the Conservation Commission, who is quite an asset to us, and we're very lucky to have him, in the North River Watershed Association. And Mr. Mansfield is very passionate and been a huge help and support to Mr. Clemens. I reached out and let Phil know, like, you know, wow, we're really lucky to have this guy. We were lucky to have Mr. Woodward, and it's with regret that we accept his resignation. But that does mean that we've got an opening, and we hope people will apply. So I moved that.
Second.
In case you didn't know.
All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, next up, the Town Administrator Review. Excuse me. So we have, in your packets, we have the 6 things that we had discussed back in the summer.
September 2nd.
Excuse me. So do we want to use this as base for John's review? I think we should.
I think it's part of it, but you know, I really struggled with this because Mr. Stanbrook, lucky for him or not, came to us a mere 2 months before we got hit with COVID. And we definitely need to do a review, but it just seems to me as though so much of his time has been taken up with COVID things, and rightfully so. I mean, it's been a fire drill for him. I don't know how we balance that, because I don't, you know, we've got other goals that needed to be met, but I'm just not sure how realistic it was to expect one person to be able to handled, as I think he put in him here, or maybe I'm paraphrasing, voluminous filings for the CARES Act. Yes, you did say that. And, you know, and he's, I don't even think he really even, not to mention all of the calls, all of the questions, all of the meetings, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we need to put something in place, but I just, you know, I don't want to undervalue what other, you know, but I don't want to set the bar here and say that he's only achieved this when realistically he didn't have time to achieve all the other things that we had. I don't know if that makes sense, but, so, we definitely, he deserves to have a performance review. It's part of the Town Administrators Act, it's part of his contract, and we should be doing it. But I think we need to balance that with the unexpected COVID-19 demands.
Matt, what do you think?
I think this is I think that these are 6 good topics of realistically what John has been doing for the last 6 months, and priority-wise. My only question was, what's the scale to rate? Are we doing does not meet, you know what I mean? Or is it a 1 to 10 scale? That's the only thing when I was looking at it, I was kind of saying, what's the rating system here? Because I don't want to do a 1 to 10 scale and then have Selectmen Blusto doesn't meet.
And I don't want to, under the circumstances, I mean, I don't feel comfortable doing a numerical rating either. I mean, to me, this is not what I had considered originally as an evaluation, but you know what? Mr. Stanbrook deserves a 6-month evaluation. The time has come. I don't think we should put it off. I mean, I would go through this and say, has most of this been achieved? And going through this, I mean, without specifying, I would say 5 of 6 things have certainly been close to achieved. I mean, I have no questions with, and one I simply smirk or giggle about and say, okay, well, yeah, COVID has certainly put a damper on that one. And so saying, it's like, I don't know, this is not a draft, this is not a rubric that I would have gone with, but I think it suits for 6 months, and then 6 months, I mean, then we come up with another rubric for.
And we can change it up down the road.
Change it up, yeah.
What do you think, Jim?
If I want to talk to John about something and I think I'm maybe a little off base, I'll come in and talk to him in the office privately, and whatever the problem or the situation is, it gets corrected right there. I don't really have a problem with this. I don't like using a number. And obviously I'll go with whatever the board wants to do, but just because of my hours at work, I think I get to see John a little more than most of us, except for maybe you, Kenny, because you're the chair. But John and I can come in, we can have a half-hour chat, 40-minute chat, and, you know, it's just kind of taken care of. Or I'll come in and say, you know, John, thanks for getting this done and this done. Can we do this? You know, can we work on that? I don't have a problem really on however the board goes, but just, I mean, since we hired John, for me, it's been kind of better one-on-one.
All right. Mr. Bloss?
Does this, when this happens, is this a public document that we read in public?
Yes, absolutely.
It seems to me, I mean, as a teacher, if the teacher, I was this rubric, then I would give my own assessment. Where was I here at that point? I would say accomplished, working on, not accomplished, accomplished, working on. I would do that and present that to my administrator. And and I think almost every case ever, my administrator was agreeable with where I thought I was in the process. So maybe is that a possibility to say, instead of West Bloss right now trying to figure out where John is in this, and I can't, not realistically or specifically, could we say that Mr. Stanbrook evaluates himself and gives us, this rubric with where am I in each one of these steps, And then, I mean, if we have a question with it, then that can be addressed, but it's like, rather than me or Jim or someone being very specifically, this is how I rate Mr. Stanbrook. I think it makes more sense for Mr. Stanbrook to, at this point, rate himself. And Mr. Mitchell, I'm sure, has a much better handle right now on where Mr. Stanbrook is at any given moment, because Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Hickey, you know, do spend more time working out these with him. So, at any rate, that's my.
I'm fine with that too. I don't know if the rating system this time around, it would be necessary.
No, Mr.
Just
Chair.
maybe not this time,
No, Mr. Chair, I wasn't asking for a rating system. I just wanted
Okay.
to make sure that we were clarifying.
to do it that way.
That we were all on the same scale. or-
John, what do you think?
I'm willing to do whatever the board wants me to do.
I mean, to Mr. Bloss's point, I do think we need to say he's achieved it, or he's on the way to achieving it, or he hasn't achieved, like, we don't seem to have any opinion, like, and I think that's really our to-do, like John was presenting us with what he sees as his actions on here, and then we need to say, oh, great, that's, and I think it's protective of John, because as you know, boards change, and it may not be the five of us a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And so what we're doing is we're opening up a line of dialogue with Mr. Stanbrook about what our now goals are, what we're expecting him to do, and to the degree to which we think he's successfully done those things. And I think it's protective of John. We've seen in the past with other town administrators where there was a lack of clarity around that, it can be politicized. So I do think it's really important to do a review, and I like Mr. Bloss's suggestion. Just, I think really just adding maybe one more row that just says, you know, like we're status maybe, or something like that, I don't, you know. And then after we do that, we revisit it, and to the extent they haven't been completed, then, you know, we decide, is this still a priority? Is it still something we want him to work on for the next
Right.
6-month review? And are there a few other things we want to throw in if he's accomplished things, you know, that type of thing?
Okay. So John, do you wanna send us an email when you get a chance? Just go through these and tell us what you think there, and then we'll fine tune it for maybe the 15th?
Sure.
But I do agree, this is gonna be a little different because of the short time.
And I think what
Jim, yeah.
Mrs. Fitzgerald Kevin just said, you know, I'm assuming that 6 months from now, knock on wood, CARES Act submission will be gone.
Right.
That won't be one, and it'll be replaced by another goal.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, anything else? Matt, anything else? Okay. All right. So next, I believe, is a town administrator report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So for old business from last meeting, the fiscal year '22 budget, the town budget, and the capital plan were submitted to me by the deadline. The budget review will start next week with town accountant Todd Hassett and department heads. Just, I think everyone knows, but there is a large deficit already in the first run. The run-through, I'll have more of that on next week. Again, I think everyone knows, but I'm going to say it again, that an operational override will likely be needed in the spring or whenever we have our town meeting in order to meet the goal, meet the needs of the town, or we're going to have to have some cuts. Again, under old business, department head reviews, I'm going to be starting them at the end of the week and continue them into next week. We're going to be using forms from the last time people were reviewed. Again, on old business, on an update on the purchase of 485 Winter Street. That was at a previous Board of Selectmen's meeting. Town Council sent a notice of insufficiency to the owners of the parcel, notifying them that the time clock has not started on the town's right of first refusal to purchase the property due to deficiencies in the notice to the town that was in your packet. So right now, we're waiting for a response from the owners for that notice. Again, moving on to new business, The Hanson Town Administrative Special Act requires me to give the board an update on all outstanding legal matters. I have given my monthly update via letter to you, but it will not be a public document. It may contain personnel, union bargaining, or health-related issues that cannot be discussed in public session, but I have complied with my requirements under the Act. Again, on new business on monthly financial report. Again, the Special Act requires me to render a monthly financial report to the board. The town accountant, Todd Hassett, has provided it to me, and he has been giving me those reports monthly. I've passed along the latest report through November. Again, it's in your packet. If you have any questions on that report, please let me know. I'll pass them along to Todd Hassett for clarification. Just on an update on the County CARES Act that we were talking about earlier. A recent county-wide call, County Treasurer Tom O'Brien said that the invoices for COVID-19 related costs incurred through December 30th have to be submitted to the county by mid-January for reimbursement. So that's where we are right now. And then the county has until March 31st to send us the reimbursement amount. Again, in your packet, I have a quick, and I won't go through every line of it, but where we are as of right now with the Plymouth County CARES Act allocation. We've received 5 phases of the CARES Act. They released money in phases, the county did. So we've had 5 phases for a total of $1.6 million. Again, I'm going to round the numbers off. Also in your packet is a list from the CARES Act, the Plymouth County CARES Act website of the amount of money we've received so far as of 12/2. So I submitted something back in July, the first one on July 9th for around $34,000, and we've received that. I had a submission back in September for $228,000, again rounding the numbers off. That is, we haven't actually received the check yet, but it is on the website as being paid. So the check should be coming very soon. Submissions number 3 was related to the school. The total submission there was $431,000, of which $172,000 is Hanson's share because of the 40.04% breakout of the costs with the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District. That's still pending. That was from September 30th. And I've had another submission on October 29th for $117,000. Another submission last week for $7,000. The total submissions so far are $560,000, again rounding the numbers off. Potential costs through December 30th. We've got some, these 5 or 6 are amounts that I know for a fact that are either in the system or on the way, or we just got them for, that we will be reimbursing them by December 30th. And they include Camp Kiwanee Wi-Fi capabilities for $8,000. iWave installation. iWave is an ionizer that kills COVID-19 virus. It was installed in all town buildings. That was $34,000. South Shore Voc gave a submission for their share, Hanson's share of their cost through September for $11,000. Again, rounding the numbers. Their $11,000 was just submitted as a bill to us. That's not the way the CARES Act and the county wants to see it. They want to see a breakout of all the bills that go to it. It's not just a bill to us, so I need to work with South Shore Voc in order to get their amount into the proper form to push it on to the county for reimbursement. Again, library materials for $30,000. That has been paid, and it's as soon as it gets paid, then we can send it into the county. Veterans masks. The Veterans agent Tim White had masks made up of for town residents that with the branch of service that they were in for all the town's veterans, and he's going to be handing those masks out to them. They are some of the veterans are elderly and they are vulnerable, and these masks will be helpful to them. And then Whitman-Hanson Regional has a submission of approximately $1.4 million. Which Hanson's cut of that is $577,000. I have not gotten the paperwork on that, but I have seen that those amounts actually do exist. So those are the amounts that are the costs that are out there that I know, and then the rest that are in yellow on the sheet are, and they may not be color on your sheet here, but it's the group under here. They are the rest of the things that we're trying to get rolling before December 30th. Again, I had permitting software on here because it's a CARES Act related item. Again, Deb Petty did a great job of getting other money for that, but that means that we're not going to be using CARES Act money for it. That frees up money there. Talking to County Treasurer Tom O'Brien, I was the supportive daycare program at the Council on Aging. I thought it may be subject for reimbursement, but right now the county will not allow any revenue replacement. So if we lost money, I'm going to use the recreation, Camp Kiwanee, if we lost, 6 people canceled their weddings. I'm going to make it up for $4,000 each. So we lost $24,000 in that hypothetical situation. They won't allow CARES Act the federal guidelines right now don't allow CARES Act money to be used to replace that $24,000 we didn't get. So it has to be actual costs that were spent, and it can't be used for revenue replacement. So the supportive daycare amount for $52,000 is not going to be covered under the current rules. Again, there's a new administration. Things could change under the new administration. They could, I don't know. Right now, the current rules say that they can't be covered. So it's not for revenue replacement at all. And again, people have been talking in other towns about vehicles, purchasing different vehicles. It has to be something that can be segregated as COVID only and used only for COVID. That's part of the rules and the current rules and regulations. So, again, a hypothetical situation, buying me a car, I'm not going out on COVID, that wouldn't be covered. You can't do that. Now, other towns have been able to segregate certain, like an ambulance, maybe in other towns, and say that ambulance is only going to go for COVID runs. Under that scenario, then that can be covered. So there's some real strict rules to the federal money. I'm signing the sheet that sends it in, so I'm very cognizant of making sure that it's proper when it goes in. So, I mean, that's just a quick update on where we are on the CARES Act. Again, there's a lot of things that are in flux. I mean, everything from we've got some modules for online permitting system that the state won't pay for under their community compact IT grant. We've got iPads for remote access if we ever go to the back, and let's hope we don't go there, but where people have to work remotely. I have a placeholder for South Shore Voc again for the cost between October 1 and December 30th. Again, we've been cleaning and defogging the town hall, costs like that. An electronic sign, COVID-19 tracing, it's overtime costs. We've had an explosion in COVID-19 tracing costs, and we have to find people that can do that. I think I said electronic sign and library materials. So there's a lot of moving parts. In the end, I have estimates because I don't have hard numbers yet. There may be a point where there may be money at the end of this, but I mean, here we are, December 8th, and there's a lot of unknowns. So there may be money left unspent at the end of it. Trying to spend it on all the proper things, but that's where we are. So that's on that. Good. Okay. Sure.
The senior center, I noticed, really, other than cleaning, they really have, I guess, really, other than revenue replacement, which we can't do, they really haven't had any costs that they could put in. But I'm wondering, I just read a whole article in the Express last week about Whitman and what they're doing for vaccinations, and that they're going to do it at Whitman Middle School, yada yada. Mm-hmm. I don't know what our plans are here in Hanson, but would that be something that we could, for instance, like if we had to have staff, if we had to have vaccinations, if we had to have, I don't know all that would be involved. But is that something that we should be building into our costs? Because it seems somewhat imminent that the vaccines are going to come out and they're going to expect towns to have some type of a plan in place to administer them. And I think it could be a significant amount of money, but I don't really know. Or is that potentially being paid for by some other pot of money?
So on, it has to be expended by December 30th under the current rules, so we would have to have vaccines ready to go in the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I do have a spot, it's probably sort of in the middle there. I do have a drive-through testing center amount, if we can get it up and running, and sometime this month. I have a placeholder for $20,000. I know Halifax had one last weekend. It was like a hurricane, so I don't know if it was well attended or not, but that is exactly what this could be used for. I have been talking to Gil Amato, the Board of Health agent, about what we could do about setting it up. Again, there's a logistics involved and whether we can turn it around that quickly or not, I'm
But
not
we've
sure.
got that deadline really is the issue.
That's the
Yeah.
issue. Again, the rules could change, they could extend the deadline, and then we have a different parameters to play by, but right now.
See, the other thing with the CARES Act is Plymouth County and the city of Boston, the only two that took the money.
Yes.
Everyone else, they basically got the CARES money. So they got the check and said, hey, spend it on whatever you think, can be used towards the CARES Act. With Plymouth County, this is so much work for these two. It's like unbelievable work, and you have to spend the money is the problem. So some of the stuff that you're reading out in the papers and seeing all this, good luck to them and to see if they can get paid. Because if you don't get reimbursed, guess what? You're on the hook for stuff.
Well, not only that, but I appreciate the rigor that Mr. Stanbrook has been applying to these payments, because there will come a time when there will be audits and what was
That's right.
paid out. And if you're
That's
not
right.
able to substantiate it, you're gonna have to pay that money
Yeah,
back.
believe me,
We
he
won't be
wants to
in
go
that
through and
position.
spend it all, but
Yeah.
he's very conscious on what he's signing his name to make sure that it's related to this,
Yeah.
But when I tell you, this work, I mean, I'm grateful to get the money, very, very grateful to get the money. But the work, they should have sent the town administrator as part of the CARES Act just to deal with it. I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
And I didn't say any of those things.
No, John,
I'm
that came from me.
unbelievably thankful
That-
to every dollar that we're getting, wherever I'm supposed to be looking here. Thank you. So again, moving on to new business, McQuon School reuse. A request for proposal was issued by Keller Williams Commercial with the January 15th due date. That went out. The RFP, that's a request for proposal, is for senior housing and redevelopment, and it's on the town's website. Today we had an informal walkthrough with 5 interested bidders. It wasn't required, but the 5 interested bidders did show up. Again, town planner Deb Petty and I were there to greet the potential bidders, walk around the building, answer any questions if we could. So there seems to be some interest in what's going on there, which was great. Again, with new business, the Hanson Water Department has received a 2020 Public Water System Award Program. I can't talk with that, I'm sorry. From the Mass DEP. The award is for not having any enforcement or compliance issues for 2019 and for the prior 5 years. So out of 779 community and non-community systems, Hanson is in the top 12.1% of systems. So just a congratulations to Water Superintendent Jerry Davis and everyone at the Water Department for a job well done there. Again, new business, the annual town report notice went out today to everyone. The due date for annual town reporting responses is January 11th. And then just in coming attractions, the next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, December 15th, is next Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the middle school auditorium. And Impressed LLC and the joint hearing with the zoning board is on the agenda. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. So I think that's it. Do you guys, have you guys just come into,
This gentleman is our Facebook guy, right? Yep.
oh, good.
Yep.
I'm just getting out of work, sorry, no family.
No, it's fine. No, we're just ending the meeting. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. That being said, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Thank you.